Casey, I think you have the current topic.
So the current topic I want to bring up is the new Vox hand-wired series.
Oh, yeah.
So they released this new hand-wired series. They had an older hand-wired series for a while. They were like fawn-colored. And I haven't really seen them out and about anywhere. I have been looking at them a little bit. I've seen them a few times, but like I haven't seen them on like Sweetwater's website, nothing like that as of recently. Maybe they have been out there, and all of a sudden they released this new set of hand-wireds. It looks like they're doing a AC30. I know they're doing the combo. Are they doing a head, do you know?
I don't remember.
They're doing an AC15, and they're doing an AC10, and maybe an AC4 also. So, what's your thoughts on this?
Well, first of all, I want to be able to see what the difference is really between the current series and that.
Yeah.
Because they haven't really released a whole lot about it.
No.
Besides, it's supposed to be more accurate to the
Yeah.
vintage ones, but you know how that is.
Whatever
They
that
could just be
means.
saying that. I will say I love the fawn ones. I have a current AC15 head and cab, matching cab. It's a 212 with creambacks. I do want blues in there. But I've played the hand-wired, and it doesn't have reverb, it doesn't have tremolo.
Right.
But I tell you what, those are some of the best amps.
Yeah.
Really inspiring. You can plug and play. There's a master volume switch, or a master volume, or a bypass switch.
Yep.
And, you can get lots of awesome tones. To me, it's all about the Celestian Blues.
Yeah.
But I love the fawn. So if they're making them even more accurate than the vintage, I am all there for it.
Yep.
But I just want to make sure it's not a downgrade. You know how it is. You never know.
Yeah. So, and you want blues in there.
I always want blues when it comes to Vox.
Okay. Yeah, so a little insight. I, at one point, went to a shop and played a vintage AC10. Yeah, it was actually Killer Vintage. They're in St. Louis. And they had an AC10 combo there. Early 60s combo. And I played it that day. And it was my first time playing like a legit vintage Vox combo. And it just like blew me away.
Mm-hmm.
So great. And I guess somebody had rewired it to have a 12-inch speaker in it, which is pretty common because they had two small speakers originally. I think they're called like AC Twin AC10s. Okay. So it had a single 12, and it looks like this new AC10 they're releasing is going to be a 12-inch speaker also. So it's kind of the same wattage as like what my Deluxe would be, ballparkish with tubes. And I'm really interested in playing one. I'd love to stick it next to my Deluxe, maybe do a stereo thing or do something a little bit different, or maybe just have it to complement it whenever I'm playing with a bunch of guys because we know a lot of the guys we play with are Fender amp guys.
Right.
So it'd be nice to have something small, it's packable, that would be good for that. And yeah, I'm really interested in it. I'm like you. I want a blue probably inside that thing. Yeah, so if you're interested in that, are you going to look at would you want the head and 212 cab like you have now? Or would you want to get an AC30 combo or an AC15 combo?
Can't do an AC30 combo because that is some extra poundage there. That's like carrying a twin.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely out on that. I would look at the AC15 combo, but I really do think a head and cab's where I want to be.
Yeah.
Just because it's a great mid-size. You can play any venue though with it.
Yeah, especially with the master, right?
Yep.
And then you can bypass that master like you were talking about. If you get to somewhere where
at least on the fawn one. I don't know about the new one.
Well, I think the new one's probably going to be maybe not. I don't know. We'll see.
Yep. So I think that's awesome. I'm excited for it.
I'm very excited for it. I'm interested to see where they come in price-wise because I haven't seen that yet.
Right.
So I haven't seen price-wise, and I haven't seen any like gut shot pictures yet of like what the chassis really looks like. Mm-hmm. So I'm kind of curious about that because your AC15 you've got now has that power like wattage thing where you can turn your wattage down,
right?
Which has been super helpful for you in certain situations.
It's been nice.
So, yeah, if there's no master on it, how are you feeling about it?
I mean,
an AC30 head with two blues.
It would be more
in
true
a cab?
to the vintage spec.
It would be. How would you feel about buying it?
I now that I have a Fender Tweed, a 5E3. To me, I think I'm fine with it because I still have a smaller amp, and that could be a mid-size amp, and then I've got my Bassman as a larger amp. So to me, it would be fine. Now, am I going to be able to crank it up? Nope.
Yeah.
It will be, pretty moderate levels.
Yeah.
I think it would be awesome if they do keep that master volume. But, if they just do a regular,
Non-master
volume on
volume.
it,
Yeah.
yep, I think that'll be awesome too. So I'm cool with whatever, as long as it's true to spec and it still has that Vox sound.
Yeah.
That's all I care about.
Yeah, that ham-wired series sounds great.
Yep.
Sounds really good. Well, that's awesome. Okay. Well, that sounds like a win to me. I'll move into my main topic I've got. So, my main topic is, whenever you're practicing at home, what are your tone goals? So what's the goals for your guitar sound and the tone of your guitar, just for practice? Not for at home, nothing like that. What are you looking for? Yeah, so whenever you sit down and practice.
Did you say practice at home or practice like with
practice
a band?
at home, no band, just by yourself, maybe in your bedroom, maybe in the living room, wherever you're at practicing, wherever you practice guitar most. What is the goal for your tone and what you're looking to hear?
I don't know if I have a goal necessarily. My thing is that I want to be as inspired as I can. I want to, be able to play the songs that I need to play in practice. Like, if I'm playing a show, I need to make sure that all the sounds I have on my board are ready to go for the weekend and stuff like that. So, as far as like a tone I'm trying to get, honestly, I plug straight into that Wagner Alchemist I have.
Yeah.
And it has everything I need in the moment. If it's just a quick...
practice.
For practicing at home, it works great. Because it has everything I need. Delay, reverb, and distortion clean and distortion. So, to me, it has everything I need. Quick on the ready. Otherwise, I'll use that Vox head and cab I have, and it's got the power attenuator. And I'll turn it down, and I'll use pedals. And that's a quiet way to not bug my wife, which is very important.
Yeah.
So I'll do that too. So
Okay.
I don't really have like a tone agenda. I will say, whenever you practice at home, does not mean that the tone will translate at the gig.
No.
So you gotta realize that you might need a little extra mids, a little less bass.
That's why I differentiated it, right?
Yep.
Tone goals for at home practice. So yeah, that's cool. It makes sense. So I feel like I kind of have like two different types of practice at home. So I've got the practice I do on a regular basis. And honestly, what I do is most of the time I take my electric guitar and I sit down on the couch to not bug my wife. But I can hang out in the same room as her, watching TV or doing something, and I'll play it without plugged in whatsoever. I'll just sit down and play it quietly plugged in. And if I can make that sound clean, whenever I'm just doing practice stuff, when I don't have any specific gig or anything going on, if I can make that sound clean and make that sound good, I know it's going to translate well to an amp.
Right.
However, you have to realize that whenever you're playing guitar, you're not playing just the guitar. You are playing the whole system. So you can't just go from that straight to a gig, I don't feel like.
Right.
You need to be able to play your amp pretty close to volume, gig volume, with the pedals or whatever else you're going to use with the reg guitars. So, with that being said, when it gets close to gig time, if I've got something coming up, before the gig happens, I'm going to set up all my equipment exactly how I plan to take it to the gig, what I think is necessary for the gig. If I have to move pedals off my board and move new ones on, I'll do all that. I'll get to like semi-gig volume, and I will try to emulate as close as I can to what it's going to sound like on the gig and what it's going to feel like with my guitars. But with that being said, like you said, I think that maybe it's the fact of you're hoping it sounds the same as what it did in the bedroom, moving it to the stage. It's never going to.
Never.
But I think we have this like, oh, we need it to sound, a certain way in the bedroom. That way it sounds the same on the stage. And you almost can't do that. You've got to EQ it differently too on top of that. Practicing at home, I can turn my bass up a lot more than what I can whenever I go like play live. I'm going to turn my bass down, my treble up every time. So a lot of times I'll have somebody come over and they will play my amp or play my guitars and they'll be like, that is bright. Like that's like, ouch. Like that's hard to play. And this amps and stuff I play is pretty not forgiving. It's not real like comfortable to play.
Right.
Like, there's not a lot of wiggle room. So they'll play it and they'll be like, this is like harsh to play and it's difficult to play all at the same time. But then you move it to a gig scenario and you're like, oh, this is like, it fits right in the mix. It sounds good and thick because it's with all the other stuff. But if I am practicing at home just for fun and plug in my stuff, I'm going to turn up my bass a little bit more. But yeah, that's kind of how I approach it.
Yeah,
so
makes sense.
Yeah. You want to move to gas or pass?
All right. So, gas or pass. Speaking of, kind of practicing at home, what about the Yamaha THR? That little bitty amp. It looks kind of like a miniature head.
Yep.
And it's got, I think, some modeling in it. You can actually tweak it in, I think online there's a certain app or something that you can use and tweak it on there. Yeah. So, what are your thoughts on that Yamaha THR? I've never played one, but I'm interested in it.
Yeah. I've been interested in it in the past also. I think it's probably an amazing practice tool. Can you Bluetooth audio into that, or do you have to plug it in? Do you know?
I think there's Bluetooth.
Yeah. If you can Bluetooth audio to it, that's probably even better, so you can practice to stuff, which is honestly not a big deal. I've never found it to be that great of a thing for me to get audio going through my guitar amp while I'm practicing, even at home. It just doesn't work out, doesn't sound real well to me. So I've honestly, a lot of times, turned on my phone or something and put headphones in and turned my amp on and plugged it up, turned it on. And I would set my amp just loud enough where I can hear it into the headphones a little bit louder than what that music is. And I think that's probably worked out better for me than anything. But I think that the settings on it sounds amazing. I remember Phil X played through it a bunch, and I remember thinking, holy cow, that sounds great. Yeah, I think it'd be awesome practice tool. I'm not sure how much I would really use it.
Okay.
So I think for me, I would probably pass on it right now.
Okay.
But I could definitely see, I've got interest in it, but I'm not gassing for it. It's kind of middle of the road for me, I guess.
So when I left for college, I played, do you remember those iRigs?
Yeah.
They were selling them. It kind of plugged your headphones into it. You could plug it into your phone and a guitar cable to the iRig.
Yep.
And then there was this app that you could choose your sounds or whatever. So I played that religiously because in the room it sounds like you're just playing your guitar acoustically.
Yeah.
And it's electric. And then you plugged in your headphones.
Stop.
Stop. You plug your headphones in or whatever, and you're like, oh, this is a cool sound. And then you practice and you're having fun.
Yeah.
So I loved that. And to me, this is like the next step above that. So like it actually has some sound coming out. There's some speakers to it.
Yeah.
You can adjust your settings a little easier than on an app on your phone.
Yep.
So like to me, I think it would be super useful. I would probably use that more than plugging into an amp at home, like on the daily. You know what I mean? Like if I'm practicing for a gig, that's one thing, and I'm getting my tools ready and set up. But if I'm just strumming along and I just want to pick up the guitar for a few minutes, I think I'd use it quite a bit.
Yeah, and it looks a lot better than most amps.
It does.
I think the wife or the girlfriend at home would be much happier with that sitting on a coffee table in the living room, than what they would see like a little Fender Champ or a Fender Mustang or something. Or something
a little
that looks brand
Supro,
new.
that would be cool though.
Supros would be cool too.
That would be awesome.
But it's certainly not as usable for practice stuff as that THR.
Right.
I think that THR would be a really cool tool for that. I think I've just got other things on my list that's ahead of it.
Fair enough.
It's kind of middle of the road, but I would probably say pass for right now. But I think it'll change.
All right. So we'll get into my main topic. The main topic for today is Guitarworld Magazines. So when we first started playing guitar, or at least me for sure, Guitarworld Magazines, they were like huge.
Yeah.
And they would have about, I think, 3 or 4 songs.
What's a magazine?
Yeah, I know. We're in like the olden times.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Like paper? Like a magazine?
I know. It's not on Gear Page, no. Guitarworld Magazines, they had, I think, like 3 or 4 songs in tab.
I think they had 5 or 6.
Maybe so.
Yeah.
But like those tabs were accurate.
Yeah.
And they were awesome.
Yeah.
And then now we have Ultimate Guitar online, and I feel like the tabs just are not very accurate. And maybe it's because I'm cheap and I don't go for the pro on there. But like Guitarworld Magazine, you had interviews, you had the tabs, you had some awesome. You would even get like rig rundowns before they were popular.
Yep.
You would actually see like Slash's rig at the time.
Right.
You would see a lot of famous people's rigs. I feel like Guitarworld Magazine was like the thing.
Yeah.
early 2000s, maybe 2010s.
Yeah, I think it was amazing. So, yeah, I think Guitar World was certainly super popular whenever I first started, and it dwindled off pretty quick once magazines fell off. I don't know exactly whenever that kind of dwindled. I know they're still making it. I have seen it in some stores, but
I rarely see them. I see Guitarist.
Yeah, maybe it was Guitarist. I don't even remember now.
Right.
I had a subscription to it for years, and like Premier Guitar was a popular magazine.
Right.
And then I loved when Guitarworld would put out like the buyer's guide every year. So they'd have like a 2006 buyer's guide, and they would have a bunch of like crazy looking guitars in the front. You'd open up and you see what's new for the year. So it was basically like a post-NAMM review.
Yeah, see, my favorite was your 50 favorite rock licks.
Yeah.
Or whatever in the magazine, and you're like, this is what I need.
And how important was it to see some of those magazines and like, Dimebag Darrell died. And there was that big tribute to him. And then whenever like an anniversary of Jimi Hendrix would come up, there would be like a big photo shot of that. And then in the back, there would be like a bunch of Hendrix songs. Or there would be a song you don't really know.
Yeah.
Which I actually found a lot of bands and a lot of music through the tab and songs that they suggested in there, because I would buy a magazine and there'd be like 2 songs I wanted to know, and there'd be like 3 songs I didn't know. And I would run into people that way. I think they were extremely influential. I think that it's a shame that we are in the place where we're at now, where magazines aren't really anything that's popular. I mean, I'm sure they're still making that stuff, so I mean, I guess somebody's buying them, but nothing like it was before.
And it's not the quality it used to be before. Like,
no.
We had talked about how it had the like rig rundowns in there and everything, and I remember they would have like a whole Led Zeppelin magazine, and it was nothing but Led Zeppelin tabs and what their interviews back in the 70s, and like that stuff was awesome. Like I would enjoy reading that, and it would get me inspired to play some more. And then the next issue would come out, it would inspire me some more. And like I remember I found out about Jazz 3 picks. It said Eric Johnson uses the secret pick or whatever. And I was like, holy cow, this thing makes me play faster. Like seriously, I got to really find my voice through the guitar with those magazines. And like now it's just whatever YouTube video, which we're doing right now. So it's just different. Like and there's something different about physical merchandise, physical copies, like a CD, and not trying to get into the whole like
old
virtual world, digital world. But like there really is something almost like romantic flipping through the pages, and you're like, oh, this is awesome.
I remember all the like cool ads and stuff that were in there too. And then the back there was like a classified section where like small builders would have like this little strip they paid, X amount of dollars for, and different things. I think back in the 90s, the Klons were in the back of the magazines. You could buy them for, little to nothing. But I think it's a shame that it's gone. I wish there was some way to, like, get that back into, like, the regular society. I think it would be a good thing. I just don't know. They tried a digital version of it. I think at one point maybe they still do it. But I remember they tried a digital version of it, and it was just... Maybe it was too early in the digital world, that it was not good. I think I downloaded 1 or 2, and it was like really bad, hard to get through. It was not interesting, and maybe it was just the fact of having the papers, of flipping through the papers. And I remember, going back years later to an issue that was 3 years old, and like, oh, I never learned that song out of there. I should learn that song. Or I would flip through like the rig rundown section and be like, what was it exactly that he was using in that? And I would base my gear decisions on what I'm buying a lot of times on that stuff, which was not the best.
And I will say, we got to state the obvious here. Like, magazines cost money. A lot of the stuff on the internet right now is free. So, would I rather pay for a magazine each month? Or would I rather have free content that I can search on my own? I don't know. Like, part of me wishes there was a subscription based online, and maybe there is. Maybe we need to do more research on this. But I would say that, I just miss learning music and learning about different types of musicians and what they use through those magazines. I thought it was awesome. And guess what? I still have some of them. I still use them today for practice techniques. So
there was tons of, like, Paul Gilbert was in there, like, oh, this is what I use to warm up, and like he would have something he learned from MI, and it was just like crazy finger exercises. And you're like, how in the world do you even ever play it?
Right.
You know, and maybe there's something to the fact that you purchased it and you spent your hard-earned money on it, that you feel like, I need to use this thing and I need to get something of value from it versus clicking a mouse. And,
Maybe so.
You know, you don't care if it adds value to your life. So, yeah, I don't know. I think Guitar World shaped a lot of guitar players, though. It certainly shaped me.
Yeah,
It changed me a lot.
Gearman Dude, and Pro Guitar Shop.
Yeah, Pro Guitar Shop was a big one.
Those were the three.
Yeah, it's amazing how the world has changed in such a short time.
Yep.
But yeah, Guitar World. I'd like to see it. I'd like to see it come back to its like former glory.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
So, all right, guys. Well, I think that's been it for this week. We'll see you guys next time.
See ya.